Whether you take combined science or triple science, it could overwhelm you sometimes. I remember back when I was in year 10, I was struggling to adapt to the jump from the basic science we were doing in year 9 to suddenly doing chemistry and physics and biology all separately in year 10. However, after doing some of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you today, I ended up getting all 9s in biology, chemistry, and physics. So here is 4 reasons why you're struggling with GCSE science. The first reason is that maybe you're treating all 3 sciences the same. You're going to quickly realize that chemistry, biology, and physics, despite being called science, they're actually quite different. And not only in the content being taught, but also how you approach them when you want to study for them. A mistake I made was using the same exact studying technique when it comes to studying for all 3 of the sciences. And the problem with this is that perhaps you're trying to out-memorize physics, for example, relying too much on your problem-solving skills when it comes to biology. I want you to imagine a line. The left side is 100% problem-solving, and then the right side is 100% memorization. Now, pretty much every subject you're going to do at school falls somewhere within the spectrum. But when it comes to the sciences, I'd say physics is somewhere near the left, and biology is somewhere near the right, and then chemistry is just straight down the middle. Knowing the nature of the subject that you want to study for is very important when it comes to knowing how you're going to study for that subject. And that leads me to my second reason why you could be struggling with GCSE science, which is maybe you're struggling to memorize and recall information. Being able to memorize a lot of information is probably one of the most important skills when it comes to school in general, not only in science. But don't worry, anyone could become really good at memorization. People think that it's mostly genetic, some people have photographic memories, some people don't. But realistically, it's just a skill that you could learn like anything else. So if you think that you're struggling with memorization, I suggest that you look into 2 concepts: active recall and spaced repetition. These 2 things are probably the 2 things that got me where I am today in terms of my grades. They're one of the reasons why I got pretty much all 9s in GCSE, why I got 4 A's in AS, and why I'm currently predicted 4 A stars at A level. Now, I've previously discussed the specific memorization technique that I use to get all 9s in GCSE science. So stick around to the end of the video and I'll link to that video. If you found these tips helpful so far, just do me a solid and drop a like. It only takes 1 second and it's so that other people can benefit as well. Now, another reason why you may be struggling with GCSE science is that maybe you can't really apply the knowledge you've learned. I remember when I first started using memorization techniques, I started getting really confident. But when it came to an actual test, I would barely get a 6 or a 7. And the reason for this was, I was able to memorize a lot of knowledge, but I wasn't able to apply it to the questions. Questions when it comes to GCSE science rarely ask for an explicit answer. It's usually within a context and then you need to work out what the question actually wants. And now if you struggle with this, you'll probably find that you'll struggle more with physics and maybe chemistry compared to biology, because they're more likely to require problem solving and application skills because of the line I showed you before. And so hands down, the best way of improving your application and problem solving skills is just doing as many practice questions as you can. I know it's very tedious, but when it comes to practicing problem solving, doing practice questions is all you need. It will get you familiar with the style of questioning and make it so that you could easily understand what the question actually wants from you. When I started doing more practice questions was when I started breaking into 8s and 9s in my tests. And now the final reason why you might be struggling with GCSE science is maybe your head is not in the right place. And let me explain. I don't really believe in manifestation, but I know for sure that if you think something is really important and think about it a lot, your mind will subconsciously prioritize it and find motivation and time for that thing. Every time I wanted to achieve something, I only achieved it when I thought it was really important, whether it was in school or outside of school. And so I see a lot of people struggling with science, and it's not because they're not good at it. It's more, they don't really think it's that important. Their priorities are not straight. And for some people, maybe that's fine. If you know for sure that you're not going to need science for the rest of your life, then go ahead and slack off in GCSE science. But if you want to pursue some sort of STEM related degree, for example, you need to know that science is going to be a huge part of your life for the next 5 years at least. So you need to start prioritizing it. That is what's going to give you the motivation and energy to find time to practice and make flashcards and make notes and so on. Now, if I've convinced you that GCSE science is important, why don't you watch this video detailing exactly how I got all 9s in GCSE science.